Most people believe retirement planning starts in your 40s or 50s. Some even think it starts the moment your salary finally feels big enough. And that belief is quietly destroying retirements. Not because people are lazy, not because they don't care, but because they were taught a timeline that never actually existed. Here's the mystery. If retirement planning is so important, why do millions of disciplined, hardworking people still reach their 60s unprepared despite decades of effort? The answer isn't that they started too late. It's that they started at the wrong age. And to understand why, we have to rewind far back before 401k less. Before pensions collapsed. Before the idea of retirement even meant what we think it means today. Because the biggest mistake most people make about retirement planning was baked into the system long before you were born, setting the stage when retirement was never the plan. For most of human history, retirement wasn't a phase of life. You worked until you couldn't, then family or poverty took over. In the late 1800s, Germany introduced one of the first government-backed pension systems under Otto von Bismarck. The retirement age, 70 years old. At the time, average life expectancy was around 45. That wasn't a benefit. It was a statistical illusion. Very few people lived long enough to collect. Fast forward to the 1930s. The United States introduces Social Security. Retirement age, 65. Average life expectancy, 61. Again, barely anyone collected for long. The system was never designed for decades-long retirements. It was designed as a safety net for the rare few who outlived expectations. But something changed. Medical advancements, economic growth, longer lifespans. Suddenly, people weren't retiring for 5 years. They were retiring for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. And the math was never updated to reflect that reality. This is where the modern retirement problem begins. Origins: the age myth is born. After World War II, pensions became common. Employers promised lifetime income. Workers didn't need to plan early, the system did it for them. Then came the shift. Companies realized pensions were expensive, unpredictable, and risky. So they replaced them with something else, the 401k. On paper, it looked empowering. Control your own future. Invest how you want. Portability, flexibility. But here's the catch no one emphasized. The responsibility shifted entirely to the individual. And with that shift came a subtle but deadly assumption: you'll start saving seriously later when you make more. This idea became cultural gospel. Your 20s? Too early. Your 30s? Just getting started. Your 40s? Now we're talking, and by the time people reached that right age, time had already done its damage. The rise, why delaying felt logical, but wasn't, let's be fair. The logic made sense. In your 20s, student loans, low income, career, uncertainty. In your 30s, mortgage, kids, rising expenses. Retirement felt distant, abstract, optional. Financial advice reinforced this thinking. Don't worry, your income will grow. You'll catch up later. Just increase contributions over time. But this advice ignored one force that outweighs income: discipline and intelligence combined. Time. Compound growth doesn't reward effort equally. It rewards early effort disproportionately. And this is where the timeline quietly breaks. The breaking point. When math turns ruthless, imagine two people. Person A starts investing at 22, contributing modestly until 32, then stops entirely. Person B starts at 32, contributing double the amount every year until 62. Person A invests for 10 years. Person B invests for 30 years. Guess who ends up with more? Almost every time it's Person A. Why? Because the first dollars invested have decades to compound. The last dollars barely have time to breathe. Most people assume retirement planning is about how much you invest. In reality, it's about when the first dollar enters the system. By the time most people feel ready to plan for retirement, they're no longer building momentum, they're fighting gravity, and this is the point where panic begins. FALLOUT, the generation caught in the gap. Fast forward to today. Millions of people in their 50s and 60s are discovering a brutal truth. Saving aggressively late feels like running uphill with a weighted vest. The data is staggering. A large percentage of near retirees have less than 1 year of income saved. Many expect Social Security to cover the majority of expenses, despite it replacing only a fraction of working income. Healthcare costs alone are wiping out decades of savings, and the emotional toll is even worse. People blame themselves. I should have started earlier. I didn't know. I thought I had time, but this isn't an individual failure. It's a systemic misunderstanding of when retirement planning actually begins. Failed fixes. Why catch-up advice falls short in response. The financial world offered solutions. Catch-up contributions, aggressive portfolios later in life, delaying retirement age. These help, but they don't solve the core problem. Because once time is gone, no strategy can recreate it. Higher risk introduces volatility when stability is needed most. Working longer helps, but not everyone can. Saving more becomes harder as energy declines. These fixes treat the symptom, not the cause. The cause is the myth that retirement planning has a correct age. It doesn't. It has a starting line. And the longer you wait to cross it, the steeper the climb becomes. Modern parallels. The pattern is repeating again. Here's the twist most people don't see. Today's younger generations are repeating the same mistake, just in a different form. Instead of saying, I'll start in my 40s, they say, I'll start once my debt is gone. I'll start when the market feels safer. I'll start after my income jumps. Different excuses. Same delay. Meanwhile, life expectancy continues to rise. Traditional pensions are nearly extinct. Social Security faces funding pressure. Market volatility is increasing. The system is becoming less forgiving, not more. And yet, the starting age myth survives. Because starting early feels insignificant. Small contributions feel pointless. Progress feels invisible. Until suddenly it isn't, the reveal. So what is the best age? Here's the answer most people expect. The best age is your 20s. That's true but incomplete. The real answer is more uncomfortable. The best age to start retirement planning is the moment your financial identity begins. Not when you earn a lot. Not when life settles down. Not when it feels serious. The moment you earn your first dollar. Because retirement planning isn't about retirement. It's about building a relationship with time. The earlier that relationship starts, even imperfectly, the more forgiving the future becomes. 3 clear takeaways. 1. Retirement planning is not a phase, it's a timeline decision. Starting small early beats starting big late, almost every time. 2. Waiting for the right age is a hidden tax on your future self. The cost isn't money, it's lost compounding. 3. The first dollar matters more than the 1,000th. Momentum, not intensity, determines outcomes. Final warning. The quiet risk no one talks about. Here's the unsettling truth. The biggest retirement risk isn't market crashes. It isn't inflation, it isn't even poor investment choices. It's believing you have more time than you do. Because time feels abundant until it doesn't, and when that realization hits, the math has already locked in the outcome. Call to action, the question that changes everything. So here's the real question I'll leave you with. If your future self could speak to you today, what age would they beg you to start? If this video challenged your assumptions, consider sharing it with someone who still thinks retirement planning starts later. And if you want more videos that break down money myths using real history, real data, and real consequences, subscribe. Because the most dangerous financial mistakes aren't the ones you make. They're the ones you delay.